That's one of the gifts of getting older is that you can completely waste your life if you're not present. And as you said, you just rack up bad decisions.
You make, and like the thing, I spent the first 20 years of my life sort of in this state of bored, angst, depression, because I didn't know any better. And it was just like, once it was just like, I'd sit around, I watched TV, and I lived in this little town, and it was just like, this is so boring. But I thought that's what life was. And once I sort of got out of that box, like now it's like, oh my God, I never want to do that again.
Welcome back to the show, guys. Episode 2 with David Stewart from Ageist and Super Age. Welcome back to the show, David.
Good to see you, Michelle.
Good to see you. So in this episode, we're going to dive into the science behind thriving at any age. I mean, you have an incredible podcast, Ageist, your platform, ageist.com. You've interviewed so many experts, but also influencers, including my mom, in this field of aging really, really well, aging like never before. And so I'd love to pick your brain a little bit, right? How do we stay vital? How do we stay relevant? How do we stay inspired, right? Because we're going to live a long time these days, hopefully. We want to live well.
Yeah. So the first thing is, if you want to stay inspired, you got to take care of your body. You got to take care of your physicality. You got to take care of your mental health. I think that there's some really very basic things. People love the exotic stuff. They really love talking about like the purple supplement pill, whatever. Okay, great. You got to go to sleep. All right. Like sleep is like number one. If you're not sleeping well, none of this other stuff is going to work for you. So that's like number one. If you're not sleeping well, figure it out. Get yourself a sleep tracker, figure out a nighttime routine, figure out a wind down routine. You know, as Norma Kamali told me, your sleep begins the moment you wake up in the morning. So Norma told me the function of the day is prepare you for sleep. So that's super important. The next thing is your body. You know, how are you moving your body? How are you taking care of this thing? So strength training, agility, what's your aerobic capacity? These are things that we have unbelievable agency on. And we can make, this is right, we know we can make enormous improvements there. The next thing is you are in control. You have total agency over what goes into your mouth.
Yeah.
No one is shoving anything into your mouth. You did that. So choose wisely. Figure out, like, again, what works for you. And some people, you know, some diets work better for other people and at different times in life. And I think it depends on what's your activity level, what are your goals. But figure it out. If you don't know, there are people out there that you can speak to who know a lot about this, and they can just help you out with that.
I want to pick your brain a little bit about the things you've talked about, right? So we've got sleep, we've got training, we've got nutrition. But there's so much, you must hear this so much. I get it all the time. It's so confusing. It's so controversial. One expert saying this, another expert saying that. So can you speak a little bit about that? Because again, you've interviewed a smorgasbord of experts. So what's your conclusion? What's your conclusion, David?
If you listen to somebody who tells you, this is the protocol, you must do this, turn it off. Because I'm sorry, that's not you. It's really, there's some sort of basic guidelines here that we all know. All right, we need to make sure you drink enough water. There's no controversy about this. No one is going to tell you stop drinking water, right? So make sure you're drinking enough water. Try and, make sure you're getting enough protein. I think especially for women, and especially as we get older, like I have found that in fact, I just learned this in the last 6 months. I weigh 170 pounds. So I've decided, okay, this is kind of hard, but I'm going to make sure I get 170 grams of protein a day. That requires some effort on my part to do that. You got to focus on that.
I've done contest preps where I've had 170 grams of protein a day.
It's like, you got to think about it, right?
I don't do that anymore, but I've done that. It is a lot of protein.
It's a lot of protein, but what I found was my ability to put on muscle really goes up. So, but that's just me, right? So I'm older. I don't absorb protein that well. And I train 4 or 5 times a week. Okay, up the protein. Make sure you're getting enough calories. Make sure you're getting enough fiber. Like this is like the stuff like, like your grandmother told you this stuff. It's not particularly exotic. And I think one of the the pieces people miss here is the idea of stress. So the, you need to think of stress as like you have a stress battery, and it's only so large. And emotional stress, mental stress, physical stress, it all comes out of the same battery. So you need to be careful about understanding how to recover quickly, because the sooner you can, if you're training, the sooner you can go from that highly sympathetic, which is that, flight or fight really jacked up, to like dial that down to parasympathetic so you can get into recovery. The sooner you can do that and you can train that, the better you're going to recover and the sooner you're going to be able to train again. Because remember, the stuff you do outside of the gym, if it has a stress component to it, you're taking from that battery. And it's only so big. So, if you're, a metric nerd like I am, you measure your HRV every morning and you see where you're at. So this morning, mine was kind of low. I really wanted to do my VO2 max training this morning, but I said, no, we're just going to do like an hour of slow zone 2. And then tomorrow it'll be up and we can have at it again.
Can you explain a little bit, just in case the audience are unfamiliar with this, like what is HRV and what tech are you using to measure it?
Oh, yeah, sure. So HRV is something called heart rate variability. So this comes out of the Russians back, I think it was like in the 70s, they figured this out. So your heart does not beat, there's a variability between the heartbeats. So it's not an exact rhythm. And in fact, counterintuitively, you want variability. You don't want it to be rigidly metronome. So the more variability means you have more ability to manage stress, any kind of stress, and you can measure this. So there's a lot of ways people measure them. There's I think pretty much all like Whoop has one, the Apple Watch has one. Other things. I use something. I'm friendly with Joel Jameson, who's the conditioning expert, and he has a thing called a Morpheus. And what I do for the last like 4 years, before I get out of bed in the morning, I put the Morpheus on my wrist. 2.5 minutes, I just stay still. And so then it gets me a fixed point every day that I know this is my HRV at this point every day. So then I'm comparing apples to apples. A lot of the other ones are these sort of funny algorithms that sort of average out during the day, and it's semi-useful.
So what is this one called again? Because the audience might be interested. Because I mean, you're interviewing all these people. You probably have some insights on what might be a better product.
Well, yeah, Joel is like, the MMA conditioning coach. So like, if you want to know about conditioning, he's the dude. So it's called a Morpheus, and either comes as a chest strap or I have one that I wear on my wrist.
On your wrist? Okay. Is it? How do you spell it?
Morpheus. I think it's the same name of the same character from
the movie.
From the Matrix. Morpheus.
Okay. Easy. Perfect. Yeah. HRV. Great. Right. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? A practice? Because you also mentioned about self-awareness, and that's a skill that you can train. I actually just interviewed Michelle Beatty, who's from the space of neuroscience, right? And we talked a lot about neurointrospection and how to practice it during training, actually, to develop it.
Yes, you can train that. So again, something, I learned this from Joel, that this idea that, like, if you see, like a highly trained athlete, like somebody who's like an MMA fighter or a boxer or even like an Olympian, you'll see that after they do their thing, they're able to, like, their heart rate is jacked. It's max, and they're able to just bring it down. So the way they're able to do another round or another competition is how quickly can they bring that down. So my sport is, I'm a ski racer, which is, I know, not exactly aligned with longevity. I get that. But you'll see, like, an Olympic level, World Cup level ski racer, it's about a 2.5 minute race. It's, by the end of it, it is basically fully anaerobic. But they'll do at the end, they'll be like 3 or 4 deep breaths and they're good. That is they've trained that. So you can do that. So after you're, sort of the easy way to do this, the beginner way to do this is after you've been in the gym. So your system, you can just feel it's all jacked up and you're kind of trembly and like, I gotta get down.
Hopefully you've trained that hard.
Well, if you do, so some of us do. So you want to practice. I mean, the easiest way is something called box breathing. So you just sit down or you lay down. If your feet are up, so like up against the wall, that helps. Put something over your eyes. Put on some kind of like really super mellow music and practice 4 beats in, hold 4 beats, exhale 4 beats, repeat. So 4 by 4 by 4. Yeah. So, you want to do that, and you'll probably have a heart rate monitor on, and you can see, okay, like once I know my heart rate is down around 80, it's like, okay, mission accomplished. Now I can go. What you don't want to do is go from this highly physically stimulating environment to pick up the phone and like, oh my God, my taxes are due. I got to talk to my accountant or whatever. So now you're just prolonging that enhanced sympathetic state. No recovery is happening. So you want to be able to pull that down.
Beautiful. Yeah. What about other simple strategies? Say that you can't lie down. You're in a work environment.
Well,
any other things that you've done?
I mean, a lot of it is just your breath. Like your breath is an enormously powerful thing. And if you can get control over that, if you can just breathe in, slowly breathe out, and just become aware of your body. So if you're at an end of a workout, if sometimes like I'm like a little shaky, right? And so I learned this from a doctor told me this a couple of weeks ago. She was like, just look at your hands, look at your arms, and ask them what they need. And it brings you into this body awareness, like, okay, what do you need? And sometimes an Olympian told me this, like in the morning, when she wakes up, she just feels her body and she's like, what do I need today? So she's a very highly dialed athlete. Now, I need an HRV monitor because I'm going to lie to myself. So she doesn't. So like for me, feelings are not facts. For her, feelings are facts. And so she can just, like people at that level can just say like, coach, this is how I'm feeling today. We should do this. Or this is how I'm feeling. Let's really go at it today.
What about mindset stuff? Do you work on that? Do you do any like mind games? Or I know my mom was doing Elevate. It's an app. She does a lot of games where they're sharpening your mind.
That's an interesting thing. I think that I meditate, and I sort of went. I was like on the wagon for about 6 months because I started this other business, and I was realizing I was not making great decisions. So I got back into meditation. So I've done it for about 10 years. You only have to do it for, somewhere between 10 and 12 minutes a day. I think that's super helpful. I think it helps your cognitive ability. I think it helps you athletic performance. I've spoken to pretty much every elite athlete I've spoken to meditates. The elite sort of warfighting community, the like SEAL team folks, very into this. It's about bringing everything down and how can I say this? Again, not being reactive, right? So being more in the moment. And I think that if we just take it to the realm of, something like deadlifts. So you want to be present with your deadlift. You don't want to just jerk this thing. You're going to hurt yourself. So be present with your body. Where are your feet? Where are your hips? How are you feeling? Are you settled into this thing? Is the weight too heavy today? Can you not pull it safely? Making these things rather than I'm going to knock back a bunch of caffeine and put on 80s arena rock and I'm going to pull this thing no matter what. Okay, there's probably that's a strategy, but you may want to be like more as mindful and the more mindful and present that we can be through everything we do in the day. This is why we, at Super Age, our publication is called The Mindset, because that's like the thing. Like if you're not present for this, you're going to do it incorrectly. You're not going to be where you want to be.
Mm-hmm. And probably that's one of the gifts of getting older is that you can completely waste your life if you're not present. And as you said, you just rack up bad decisions.
You make, and like the thing, I spent the first 20 years of my life sort of in this state of bored angst, depression, because I didn't know any better. And it was just like, once I stood, it was just like, I'd sit around, I watched TV, and I lived in this little town, and it was just like, this is so boring. But I thought that's what life was. And once I sort of got out of that box, like now it's like, oh my God, I never want to do that again. Like, I want to be fully here for everything.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about community, right? Because
Yeah.
I know this is big for you. I'm the same
Yeah.
way. We're the product of the people, the
Yeah.
closest people, the people in our inner circle. What
Yeah.
what can people do? They're stuck. They're like, okay, this is my geographic reality. This is
Yeah.
the life I created for myself, but I want more. What recommendations would you
Yeah.
give?
Get more. You deserve
I
more.
love how you just got right to the point.
Like, number one, you deserve it, right? Like, that's the first thing. Understand, like, love yourself enough to know you deserve these things. You deserve the kind of people around you. As we discussed, we are the sum total of the 5 people around us. Choose wisely. If you don't like those people, there's another 20 billion people out there. Find a couple more. And okay, you're somewhere where it's hard to meet people. There's an internet. It's filled with people. Find your community. Go out there. Say yes. Be a joiner. Say hello to people. Engage with people. Like, you have agency in this situation. You are not powerless.
A lot of times I feel we can convince ourselves that the reason we can't have that abundance in our community is because of other people. But again, this idea of the internal narrative, a lot of times we're in our own way and expecting one person or 2 people to be everything to us, especially if who we are us, is trying to shift and change, doesn't make sense, right? Let those people be. You can still evolve the relationship you have with them. You're evolving, they're evolving, what you want is evolving, but go ahead and lean in to those other challenges of presenting yourself to new people, being interested in what other people are up to, being open and curious.
Be interested.
Be interested.
That's really key to this.
What are some of the mistakes that people make that lead to stagnation in life? And I think the lack of curiosity is probably going to be one of them.
There are 2 things.
Okay, just 2.
One, they're basically 2 things.
Perfect.
The first one is whatever like, we're all doing an ROI calculation, right? What's my return on investment? Meaning, if I go to the gym, am I really going to return? If I read this book, am I going to get a return on investment? Is it worth my time? So we say, no, it's not going to be worth my time. It's not going to work on me. It's worked for 99.9% of these other people, but I'm different. It's not going to work for me. Okay, get over that. The second thing is you're worth it. And remember this, because it doesn't matter how much information I give you, how many resources I give you. If you don't think you're worth it, you don't move. So you need to feel that you are worth it. Try and expect positive outcome rather than think about what are the negative things that can happen, because we all as humans, we're, because of the saber-toothed tiger out there that we saw once, like it might chase us, don't go over there again sort of thing. We have this negativity wiring from our like primitive brain. Try and say to yourself, what are the good things that could happen? What are the possibilities? What are the good possibilities that could happen here versus what are the bad things? I mean, we can think about bad things till the end of time, right? That's not going to get you anywhere. Expect positive outcome. You're one of those people that this is going to work for. So let's do it.
Last question before we wrap up this is, and again, I'm thinking of Ageist. I'm thinking of what you're doing with Super Age too. Really exciting. I'm so excited to be invited to be part of it. And I love how much integrity that you are holding for that space of longevity, because it's a real space of grifting. But what I want to ask is, if you think of this future, and not a distant future, but like around the corner future, this community that you are actively trying to cultivate, right? Like we're here, people are here that want to grow and are here for the transformation and are still curious and evolving and choosing growth. But what you're doing, and I'm doing it in my small way with TWW, is we're actually creating a community, and we're helping to like give words, right, to something that we're collectively sort of feeling. and it becomes a rallying cry. So if like, I know what I envision, like this world of like, 50-year-olds and 60-year-olds like strutting into the gym and like doing all the things and being strong. What vision do you have where you're like, God, I made an impact? What do you see?
I want to have, I think what we do is we authenticate people. We say, you're not a weirdo. We see you. It's okay. Like, we got you with this. And I think that, we're seeing a time now where people who used to be interested in sort of longevity, health, and wellness tended to be older. The people who work for me here, a lot of them are quite young. They're in their 20s. They know as much about this or more than I do, and they practice it. And I think, we're starting to see not by far, not everyone. I mean, there's a lot of issues out there, but people are understanding that this is not some sort of grim reality that you just have to suck it up. You have agency. And I think the biggest change that I've seen in the last 5 years is this idea of we have agency. So like with our healthcare providers, it's not so much top-down direction, they are partners. We make decisions about our health. We go forward and we're surrounded with a group of people that explore. We explore together what works. And, sometimes we say things that we get wrong and we have to correct. And we say, oh, that we thought that worked, but that doesn't work. So let's try this other thing. To not try and be so rigid about things. And I think this idea of, at Super Age, we're never going to tell you must do this. We're going to say to you, probably better if you sleep better. Probably. Test it out. See how you feel. And I think we all have this personal responsibility and bringing that back. So yes, there is authority. Yes, there is science. Yes, there are things that we can look at. But at the end of the day, the responsibility is ours. And that's a really heavy thing, Like as you were saying earlier, telling the world who you are and saying, this is who I am. This is what matters to me. These are the people that are important to me. At the same time, taking responsibility for who we are and what we do, like acting on that. That's how I want to support people.
I love that so much. I mean, we're following such similar paths, even though we're doing it so uniquely differently. And I have so much gratitude for you being on this podcast, David, and a lot of gratitude as well for all the stuff that you're doing in the world. I'm really excited about Super Age. It's phenomenal. You've done such great work with Ageist, and I know that Super Age is going to be phenomenal as well. So I'm excited. Thank you.
You are the OG rock star in the space. I just got to tell you.
I'm just warming up. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks so much, Michelle. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.